Welcome back to Toriano Knows Ball. I'm your host, Toriano. Thank you guys for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about the post day one free agency signings. We're going to be ranking them as well as talking a little bit sparingly about each individual player and congratulating each player as well. Welcome to Duval. This was a 9-man day one free agency class. We'll see if they continue to go into the double digits or if they focus on any trades or if we're just moving towards the draft. I think you've really set yourself up here to go BPA in the first 2 rounds, 3 rounds, and we're moving at an efficient rate. No bad contracts. I think everything was below market. Everything was a steal, in my opinion. The only players that really got starter money to me was Makari and maybe Brown, maybe Murray. Jordan Lewis, of course, got some good money, but he got nickelback money. So is it really like high starter money? No, not necessarily. That $10 million a year for a starting corner, that's a steal. So just looking at the contracts, let's go ahead and start off with Nick Mullins. He signed here to be the backup quarterback coming from Minnesota, having the connection to Grant Udinski. That is an excellent signing, in my opinion. Throughout the offseason, we have talked continuously about finding that backup quarterback, whether it was going to be Kyle Trask, a Jameis Winston. But here you actually have a connection that makes sense with Nick Mullins coming from the Grant Udinski tree and working with a couple of former Rams guys in Kevin O'Connell and Grant Udinski, of course, who is now the offensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I expect Nick Mullins to come in here and be the immediate backup and provide you some security and as well as be a veteran presence for Trevor Lawrence. So a great signing, in my opinion. You knock out two birds with one stone with this signing. And I think if you want to draft a development quarterback, you still can. But I think you have your backup for the next 2-3 years. Next, we're going to talk about two signings in one, and that'll be Hunter Long and Nick Munt. Both guys coming from that Rams tree. Nick Munt has spent time with the Rams and the Vikings. Hunter Long coming directly from the Rams. Both guys are excellent blocking tight ends who also have some receiving chops, but these guys are top end blockers at the tight end position in the NFL. I think Nick Munt has been phrased as the best tight end three in the NFL. So to get him at the contract that we got him at, and for him to play his role and be a top tier player in his role, obviously we've talked about this a lot, raising the ceiling, raising the floor of this team. I think these two additions do that for you. They contribute in the passing and the run game. You're able to play more 12 personnel, which Cohen has talked about. And I think you'll be able to see these guys play on the field with Brenton Strange or both of these guys on the field without him. You still can address the tight end position in the draft with these signings. These are not high end market signings. And we watched Luke Farrell leave for 3 years, 20 million. So getting these guys on 2 years, 6.5, 2 years, 5.5, I mean that those are steals. I think if you were comparing the market for Luke Farrell and looking at these guys, I honestly think these guys are better. So being able to get both of them at a cheaper price tag, you come out as winners to me. So I would give them an A grade, and for Mullins, I would give it an A grade because I believe it was 2 years, 6.5. But I have to double check the numbers on Mullins' contract. But I mean, all around those three signings, I give those an A to me. So great value signings. Excited about to have them on the team, and welcome to Duval. Next, I want to talk about De'Ami Brown. He signed a 1 year, $10 million contract, kind of similar to the Tutu Atwell deal. And we see that he's going to be more of a vertical and screen game guy. He was very dynamic for Cliff Kingsbury and the Commanders last year with Jaden Daniels. Really turned it on in the postseason and really showed what he can be when getting some targets and getting some manufactured looks. I think De'Ami works in the system that Cohen wants to do. I think he'll have an excellent role there. You could see him used similar to a couple guys in this past season for the Bucks, but I think he's definitely going to be another vertical threat. He brings some speed. He plays faster than his 4.45 speed from the combine during his pre-draft process. So you got another guy that can play opposite of Brian Thomas Jr. at a $10 million deal. I think a lot of it is incentive based. So I think the base salary of it is going to be $5 million. So to me, it's a steal. It's another steal. You're taking a flyer on a guy that could really show out for you potentially. Still on the younger side. Came out of UNC. I had some positive thoughts on him coming out of the draft process, but I wasn't sure how he was going to fit in the NFL. And now we see what type of role he's designated for. So I expect him to have a solid season. I don't expect him to be a star, but I do expect him to be an impact player. And getting him on a 1 year rental like this, where it doesn't have too much implication on the cap space, could be another good deal. I have it with a B plus grade. I thought there were a couple other guys on the market that you could get around the same price tag, whether it be 10 to 12 million. But I think Diami is a solid pickup. Next, we're going to talk about the O line signings. We signed a guy at each spot. Whether you want to look at, all three of these guys can actually play all alongside the line. You got Chuma Odoga, you got Patrick McCarry, who got the biggest money out of the three, Robert Hainsey, who got about 7 million per year for 3 years, and Edoga, I believe, got about 5 million to 6 million per year. So McCarry got closer to 12. These are great signings, in my opinion. I think McCarry is your starting right guard. If you draft a right guard in the draft early, he could start at center for you. Hainsey be a great backup who also has intangibles to play at the guard position as well, be a backup, and has played left tackle. I mean, Idoga has played both tackle positions and played on the interior. McCarry has played all five line positions. I mean, to me, I made a tweet last night that I never have to worry about a Jaguars injury on the O line again. You have so many guys that are competent players and versatile. So when you look at Cooper Hodges, Patrick McCarry, Achuma Idoga, Robert Hainsey, like these guys can play all along the line of scrimmage. So exciting times. I think they still address the draft and add two more players. You want to be deep. You want to be 10 deep. And that's what I'm seeing that the Jaguars are approaching. They want to be 10 deep. And that's a good thing. I want folks to remember this is a good thing. They're making sure they protect Trevor Lawrence even if your starters get hurt. Idoga will be a pivotal part of that. He will be the swing tackle, and I think that you'll be able to see him shine if Walker Little or Anton Harrison gets hurt. Obviously, we hope they do not get hurt, but it also shows that they are prepared for that. McCarry, I expect to be a starter at some point. At the $12 million price tag, it's more so top end money as far as being a big five guy. If he's your O line six and Hainsey is your backup too, you have three guys that are premier backups. You don't really see that too much in the league outside of maybe the Eagles. So for them to follow that blueprint, I'm excited about that. These are guys you're going to have on 3 year deals. I think it's a good thing. I think it's an excellent thing. So I'm excited about these three signings. All three guys are coming from teams that have good offensive line coaches, offensive lines. So excited to inject that into our ecosystem, as Gladstone has said. And I'm excited to have all three of them here in Duval, and congratulations. Next, we're going to talk about the secondary additions, which were Jordan Lewis and Eric Murray. These were two questionable signings. I didn't really have either of them on my radar. I wasn't expecting to sign a nickel corner, and Murray was on the latter end of guys that I was looking at safety. Murray getting a $7 million per year deal seems like more of a depth guy, but it's still a $7 million price tag. I would much rather get a guy at like the 4 to 5 million rate if you're going to sign him to be a stopgap. But Murray could be a starter here. He's played free safety and strong safety. He's looked good at both positions. He's been a playmaker for the Texans over the past year or two. And you saw him get a pick six against the Chargers this past postseason. So I think Murray has some playmaking ability. He's coming off of his best season as a 30 to 31-year-old. So it's not the greatest thing, but it also shows he has a little bit more to show. And Jordan Lewis, of course, is a potential All-Pro, potential Pro Bowler at the nickelback spot. Can play in the slot and can play on the outside a little bit. I wouldn't expect that here in Jacksonville. I think he'll lock down that nickelback spot. But again, raising the floor. We want guys that can have inside-out versatility. At the cornerback position, we want dogs, and Jordan Lewis is a dog. He's one of the best trash talkers, and if you've seen the Amon-Ra St. Brown clip, he is one of the receivers' worst option to run against. When you're playing in that slot position, you do not want to see Jordan Lewis. So that is music to my ears, hearing an All-Pro say that. And I think, to me, I mean, he played like an All-Pro this past season for the Cowboys. So getting a guy that has played at that level, is 28 years old, could potentially play like that for another 2, 3 years. I see it as a win. So obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Jerry Jones. I think he'll move to the outside, in my opinion, which kind of makes you even deeper. He still has inside-out versatility. He can play spot minutes at that nickelback spot once Jordan needs a breather. If he's potentially your starting outside corner next to Tyson, it gives you more BPA potential. We could see them draft another corner later in the draft, whether it be on day 2 or day 3. It gives them a little bit more room to say, we're going to take the best player available in the draft. Now, if Travis Hunter is on the board, you take Travis Hunter. That's just my opinion. So looking at this, you got a couple of starters here. I think De'Ami Brown is going to be a starter. I think Patrick McCarry is going to be a guaranteed starter. Jordan Lewis is going to be a starter. Eric Murray, for now, I have him at the starting strong safety position. I think we're going to add a free safety in the draft, or possibly walk away in day 2 with Javon Holland. It's possible. It's possible. And then I think Robert Hainsey, depending on what they do in the draft, I think he'll be a starter. So that's 5 potential starters, and you added tight end depth, which you had none at all, at a very good price. You lost your tight end 3 from this past season, but replaced them with 2 players at a cheaper rate, who are actually more productive, in my opinion, as blockers, potentially as receivers too. And then you got your backup quarterback in Nick Mullins. So I'm very excited about this. There's a lot of depth here. I think they really raised the floor of the roster so far. I think you added a couple impact starters that in a lot of veteran leadership in the locker room. And you're adding guys, again, this was the goal last offseason, but you're adding guys here that are actually coming from playoff teams that went deep in the playoffs outside of the Cowboys, and teams that had success this past season. So excited about the future, excited about these 9 guys. If you guys have any predictions on what will happen on day 2, let me know in the comments below. And let me know your thoughts on these specific players, if you had a favorite signing or if you had a questionable signing, and we can chat it up. Thank you guys for watching, and go Jaguars.